ABC 24 News starts right now with breaking news.
We have breaking news out of southeast Shelby County at the Southwind Lakes Apartments. We had reports of small children involved on an icy pond. We have new information that 2 children were rescued from a pond at these apartments, and it was a 12-year-old and a 7-year-old. One is in critical, the other is in severely critical. We are working to get details on which child is in critical and which one is severely critical. But we are getting reports. This happened within the last hour. Shelby County Fire is out there, as well as the Shelby County Sheriff's Office at the Southwind Lakes Apartments. This is in southeast Shelby County. We started seeing Facebook posts also circulating online about this incident in particular, but we do know confirmed information. You are looking at scene right now, scene footage from our Ezekiel Telemaco. He went out there just a few moments ago. Again, this was just within the last hour. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office is on the scene at the Southwind Lakes Apartments. This is off Hacks Cross Road area. 2 small children were on an icy pond, and we do have confirmation that they are alive. One was 12 years old and one is 7 years old. One is in critical and one is severely critical. Brent Perkins with the Shelby County Fire Department is really urging tonight to stay off the frozen water. It's not an environment conducive to survival. We are expecting a press conference from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office as well as the Shelby County Fire Department. I'm expecting to be there as well. Is going to give an update to all of this at 11. Our Ezekiel Telemaco is waiting standby there at the Shelby County Sheriff's Office Training Academy. So we are on top of this as this is on Store Drive. This is around Hacks Cross Road in southeast Shelby County. Now we are going to bring you a live report with our Ezekiel Telemaco, and we'll give you that in just a second when we get more updates around 11. We are moving back to our coverage on the winter storm here. So the hardest hit area during this deadly winter storm appears to be thawing out. We have new ABC 24 drone video over Oxford, Mississippi, showing more pavement since ice covered the area, but the impact of this storm remains, which just emphasizes that there are still very snowy, wintry mixed conditions on the ground. A lot of the ponds in the area are iced over, but do not step on them if you can help it. Do not get on them because it just takes a little bit for it to break through. Thank you for joining us on 24 Plus for this extended coverage. I'm Pepper Baker. We are learning more about that incident in southeast Shelby County involving 2 children. We have confirmation from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office and the Shelby County Fire Department that one child was 7 years old, the other is 12 years old. One is in critical and one is severely critical. We're working to figure out which one exactly is which status, but we are going to bring that update to you live with our reporter Ezekiel Telemaco. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office says that they are planning a press conference at 11 o'clock. So we are going to stay on top of this and keep you live as we keep getting new developments up until 11 o'clock when we do end up taking that press conference live. We cannot confirm. We're getting new details now that Brent Perkins with the Shelby County Fire Department cannot confirm which child was severely critical and which one is in critical. But again, we're giving you the details just as quickly as I'm getting them here. But we do know 2 small children, 12 years old, 7 years old, were involved on an icy pond in southeast Shelby County. Here's a look at a scene video from that apartment complex. Our Ezekiel Telemaco got out there as soon as he could when we heard reports. We saw Facebook posts circulating about this incident as well from people who live in that complex. You can see the first responders are there. The Shelby County Sheriff's Department as well as the Shelby County Fire Department were on scene. They were able to confirm with us that the children are alive, but right now one of them is in critical, one of them is severely critical. There's a pond in this apartment complex that has a sheet of ice over it, as a lot of ponds do right now, given the winter storm that just went through and the freezing temperatures that continue overnight. These officials are urging everybody to stay off any type of bodies of water. Even if it looks like it's iced over and you can walk on it, it takes nothing for that ice to crack and for you to potentially fall through. Brent Perkins said stay off the frozen water. It's not an environment conducive to survival. Luckily, these kids were rescued. We do have confirmation that they are alive, but they are in critical. One is in critical, one is severely critical. And again, we're talking about a 12-year-old and a 7-year-old right now. This is in southeast Shelby County at the Southwind Lakes Apartments. 2 small children. This is near Hacks Cross Road, but it's particularly on Store Road. So we are continuing coverage. You can see we have our crews at the Shelby County Sheriff's Office Training Academy. This is where they're expecting to take the podium here in just a few moments. Our Ezekiel Telemaco is there live, bringing you this feed here, and we will hear an update on exactly what happened. Hopefully they can give us a little more confirmation on how those children are doing. But we did get this information within the hour, and we immediately sent our crew to the scene. We saw the Shelby County Sheriff's Office out there. The Shelby County Fire Department is out there. But the temperatures tonight are going in the teens. So we have been seeing this just mixture all week. First last week when it initially fell with snow to the north, a sleet snow mix in the metro Memphis area, and then that ice in Mississippi. So you're looking at Mississippi here. This is Oxford. Things are starting to thaw out as the sun comes up every morning and just through the day. But then as those temperatures drop at night, everything refreezes. So there's been significant progress since last weekend from the initial storm falling, all the precipitation falling on the ground. There's been progress. This is an updated video we got from our drone. So you can see roadways are clearing out, but still, when we talk about bodies of water, those are still frozen, and it's thawing out slowly, but enough where that ice is thin. So it takes nothing for you to just step on it and fall through. Now, when we do talk about the devastating impact of this entire storm over the last week, TEMA announced that 6 people in Shelby County died from this winter weather. So that brings the total number of deaths in Tennessee alone to 21. And then you can add that to the 16 in Mississippi and at least 2 in Arkansas. Across Tennessee, more than 60,000 people are still without power, and 15 counties are under a boil water advisory. Now in Mississippi, the outages are down to just under 80,000, and that's from 180,000 at the peak. So we are continuing our winter weather coverage. We've had crews all across the Mid-South. We'll go ahead and take Brent Solomon, who was in Holly Springs, where crews were getting help from as far away as Florida to restore power to thousands of homes.
I'm standing outside of the Eddie Smith multi-purpose building right here on North Memphis Street. While the sun came out a bit today, it wasn't enough to melt away the winter danger. Temperatures expected to plunge tonight, and that's why this shelter has become a lifesaver. The quiet streets of Holly Springs tell the story of a city on pause. Just a week ago, these roads were clear. Today, they're a treacherous mix of slush and black ice. For many, the real struggle is happening inside of dark, freezing homes.
And at this time, I believe the honesty can say that we've gotten all restored except maybe about 33% of them. And that 33% may take longer to restore due to the complexity of where they are located.
To respect their privacy, we're not showing you their faces, but the people inside this shelter at the Eddie Smith multipurpose building say they're simply at their breaking point. The shelter opened Tuesday, 3 days after the storm. It has seen up to 37 people a night.
Everybody's just antsy waiting on the electricity to be restored to their homes.
So people have come in saying we
yes,
don't have power.
We don't have power in our home, and we're cold, and most of them don't have generators. So they come here.
Patty Blanchard manages disaster programs across 10 counties, all of which were hit. She says the shelter provides a warm bed and a hot meal, but it's also a sanctuary for travelers who were caught off guard by the southern ice.
Because some of the families that we have had they from like Georgia, some from North Carolina.
While some melting occurred Friday, refreezing overnight will turn highways and local streets slick yet again. The mayor says crews from Alabama, Georgia, and Texas are working the lines, but there is no firm date for restoration.
It's impossible to set a time and say that we will have all of them restored in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But there's always hope that we're getting them restored just as quick as possible.
For now, hope and a warm cot will have to be enough. If you want to help your neighbors in need here in Holly Springs, the shelter doesn't need money, but they could use snacks, food, water, drinks. And with wind chills expected to hit near zero tomorrow morning, the shelter is expected to be here for the long haul. In Holly Springs, Brent Solomon, ABC 24.
Brent, thank you. Now in Oxford, Mayor Robin Tannehill addressed efforts to restore services in a post to social media today. Leaders believe leaks are causing setbacks in restoring water in the city. Now Tannehill claims the individual leaks aren't big, but when you add them up, they become significant. Still, the water levels are improving and the work is being done to restore services. Lingering ice is still causing setbacks to power restoration and travel. Now, the mayor went on to say that road crews are moving around town, trimming low-hanging branches and making sure roads are passable. You are taking a live look now at Interstate 22 at Stonewall. This is in Mississippi. Now, traffic is flowing freely now, very smoothly, but that was a much different story a couple of days ago when truckers were stuck on these very roads you're looking at right now, as well as the Interstate 55. But the Mississippi Department of Transportation announced all lanes on I-55 and I-22 are reopened for travel. ABC 24's Desmond Nugent has been on top of this story in North Mississippi and continues our team coverage with the latest on the interstate's conditions.
Interstate 22 here in the Holly Springs area is finally back open for business. Whether it is the westbound or eastbound lanes, you can see traffic flowing better than ever since the storm hit. This is exactly what the Mississippi Department of Transportation crews were working so hard for and why truck drivers are excited and ready to get back home. For the first time since Saturday, all lanes on Interstate 22 in Holly Springs are mostly clear. For days, dozens of truck drivers were either bumper to bumper or stranded due to icy road conditions. Getting back on the highway is a moment trucker Trevor Moore has been waiting for.
It was a mess, but I guess it's just part of trucking.
Moore, a Holly Springs resident, was traveling from Atlanta to Memphis, a trip that turned into days of uncertainty.
No, nothing like this, boss. Nothing like this. No, I just called my company, let them know, and it's been fine ever since.
Joe Barrera, another truck driver, shares a similar story. He was stuck in North Mississippi for nearly a week.
I was in that sea of vehicles 22 hours. I moved about maybe in 22 hours, I probably moved about 1,000 feet. Yeah. And it took me 22 hours to get from Tupelo to exit 30 to this exit. And I'm glad I was glad to get here.
Despite the long delay, Barrera says experienced drivers are trained to handle situations like this, even if it's uncomfortable.
We have a water and maybe canned goods and a microwave and a refrigerator. And we have APUs that run on a minimum amount of diesel fuel, and we can run for days. Usually, unless somebody foolishly left the last truck stop on a half a tank or a quarter tank or something like that.
His motivation, finish his route to Bentonville, Arkansas, and a warm welcome from his family back in Arlington, Texas.
Hopefully they'll be delighted. You know, absence makes the heart grow fonder, so we'll hopefully my absence will get them to have a bit of a smile.
The Mississippi Department of Transportation says while the interstate is back open, they are advising travelers to avoid the roadways due to black ice. For now, we're in Holly Springs. Desmond Nugent, ABC 24 News.
And an alert for Mississippians using SNAP benefits who were out of power for at least 4 hours during this winter storm. Well, you can apply for replacement benefits, but you'll need to do it soon. The Mississippi Department of Human Services reminds recipients to apply on its website before Tuesday, February 3rd. Here in Tennessee, the Tennessee Department of Transportation will shift their focus from clearing snow and ice to fixing potholes. Now, several crews will be out in the next few days to address road damage from the storm. Drivers should expect short-term delays and lane closures. TDOT tells us while they will try to avoid peak travel times, work could continue into the evening and weekend. Throughout this winter storm, TDOT crews have driven more than 600,000 miles, used 1.7 million tons of salt, and worked nearly 100,000 hours. And right now, 2 Memphis City Council members are under fire over their claims about the snowfall. In separate videos on social media, Yolanda Cooper Sutton and Pearl Walker both claimed the snow wasn't real and even used a lighter to melt a chunk of ice. ABC 24's Ezekiel Telemaco reached out to Walker, who is standing by her claims.
I'm not going to deny my reality because of someone else's comfort zone or lack thereof.
Pearl Walker, a Memphis councilwoman who represents District 3, spoke with ABC 24 about comments that she had made on her personal Facebook page suggesting that the snow in Memphis was man-made.
When I was engaging on Facebook, I was not engaging in an official District 3 councilwoman capacity. But the sad part, I'm going to tell you what's sad, and I'll probably take some hits from this, but right now I don't care because I'm in my feelings. The level of awareness, the level of intelligence, the level of, or lack thereof, and the spin is really rooted in people not being informed, people not being aware.
Walker says taking a look at the snow outside in Memphis tells you everything that you need to know.
I didn't understand why it wasn't dripping water. And I stand by that. It wasn't dripping water. And it does feel different. Well, it did. When I walked on it a few days ago, it did feel different. And it sounded different.
ABC 24's chief meteorologist Trevor Burchett responded to these claims as someone who is an expert when it comes to weather in the Mid-South.
Well, I can tell you without a doubt the snow is not fake. You cannot fake snow like this unless you're up in the mountains and they have those snowblower things. This snow does feel a little different than what we normally see in Memphis, but it's because we have sleet mixed into it. And that's something we've been talking about for days before the storm, is that this wasn't going to be the pure powdery snow that we're used to that kind of blows around. This was going to have ice mixed in and those sleet pellets, and that makes it really crunchy. It also makes it really hard to melt. Sleet takes forever to melt, and that's why we're seeing it stick around for so many days.
And for those who are curious if man can physically alter the weather,
it's something that people have looked into. I mean, who wouldn't want to control the weather, right? But at this point, there's nothing of use that would actually be useful to produce a major storm or any major difference in the weather. Maybe one day, people are certainly trying. Who wouldn't want to stop a big storm if they could? But there's nothing out there right now that can do anything like this.
Now, in all seriousness, whether you believe the snow is real or fake, it's having a real impact on people's lives here. We're going to take you back to that breaking news out of southeast Shelby County. This is at the Southwind Lakes Apartments. You're looking at a map where this is. It's near Hacks Cross Road, East Shelby Drive. 2 small children were on an icy pond in this apartment complex. This is the Southwind Lakes Apartments, and the sheriff's office responded within the last hour. Now, the Shelby County Fire Department confirmed to us that 2 children, ages 12 and 7, are alive. But one of them is in critical, the other is in severely critical. We are still waiting on an update on exactly which child is critical, which one is severely critical. Brent Perkins could not confirm that with us at this time, but we are expecting a press conference. Here we are. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Ready? You want the lights up or down? Well, you get the lights on. I did. Okay. Ready? Ready.
All right. We all ready? All right, standing with me today is Shelby County Fire Department Battalion Chief Jeremy Havlick. He won't be able to offer comments today. I think he's having some vocal issues, but I'll try to respond to as many questions as I possibly can. Well, good evening. At approximately 8:15 p.m., the Shelby County Sheriff's Office responded to a drowning call at 4630 Hansberry Drive at the Southwind Lakes Apartments in southeast Shelby County regarding 2 children, ages 7 and 12, who had fallen in an icy pond. Several deputies arrived on the scene within minutes. Without hesitation, they entered the frozen water to rescue the children. deputies were able to pull both children from the pond and immediately began life-saving measures until the Shelby County Fire Department arrived and took over medical care. Both children were transported to Memphis Pediatric Hospital. One child was transported in non-critical condition. The second child was transported in extremely critical condition. One of our deputies was also transported to Regional 1 after sustaining a weather-related injury during the rescue. I want to be very clear. This action tonight, taken by our deputies, was heroic. They did not stop to think about the danger to themselves. They acted immediately to save the lives of 2 children. That is the kind of courage and selflessness our deputies demonstrate every single day. Right now, our thoughts and prayers are with both the children and their families, especially the child who remains in critical condition, as well as our deputy who was injured while helping to save a life. I also want to take a moment to address public safety. We urge parents, guardians, and caregivers to exercise extreme caution during freezing weather. Bodies of water that may appear to be frozen can be extremely dangerous. Ice can give way without warning. Children should never play on or near ponds, lakes, or any body of water that appears frozen. What may look safe can become deadly in a matter of seconds. Preliminary information suggests that the children were walking on what appeared to be a frozen pond when the ice broke. This incident remains under investigation, and I want to take this opportunity to once again thank not only the deputies who raced into danger, risking their own lives to save the lives of these 2 children, but I also want to thank the firemen, the paramedics, who also responded to the scene and did whatever they could do to save these children's lives. And I think because of the combination between what the deputies did on the scene and also what the fire department did once they arrived, saved these children's lives. Now, as I said, one child is in the hospital in non-critical condition, while a second child is still fighting for his life. That family, as you can imagine, is praying for the best outcome possible. We also ask the community to join this family in prayer. But we also want to remind the community again, we understand that for the past several days, due to inclement weather in our community, a lot of children have been inside of the homes, perhaps bored out of their minds, and now they are starting to get out and test the water, if you will. And so what we have learned tonight is that these 2 children were walking on what they thought was a frozen solid pond. And after minutes, their weight broke the ice and they fell in. And what I'm afraid of is in our community, more of these stories can happen. More of these incidents could be brewing. So now's the time for us parents to have these conversations with our children about water safety. It only takes seconds to be overcome by frozen temperatures if you enter the water. It only takes seconds for your clothing to become saturated with water, which can pull you down or hold you underwater. So again, we understand that icy bodies of water can be tempting for children. It can be enticing, but it's also dangerous. So again, I urge the public to have the conversation with children about the dangers of icy ponds or icy bodies of water during this time of the year. And with that, I'll take your questions.
Chief Buckner, any idea how long the kids were in the water?
So we received a call at around 8:15 p.m. and our first deputy had arrived on the scene around 8:19. So we know for certain at least 3 minutes, but we don't know how long before we received the 911 call the children had been under the water.
Is it the younger child or the older child in critical condition?
The 7-year-old child remains in extremely critical condition at this time.
Are the boys related?
Yes, they're brothers.
Was it the family that made the call?
So right now, what our investigation has revealed is that the sister of these 2 boys saw them fall into the pond, phoned the mother, who then began to call us, along with other residents in the apartment complex, began to dial 911. Thankfully, we had deputies that were nearby who raced to the scene, and once they arrived, they raced into the water to save these children.
Did they have to dive in? Is it deep water, or is it like a little for show pond, or a real full-on 7 or 8 foot deep?
Yeah, so what I can tell you is that this pond is in an apartment complex, and it was deep enough for the children to be submerged in the water. And so they literally raced into the water, not worried about their own safety, not worried about the frigid temperatures of the water, but they were worried about getting these 2 children out. And once they were able to retrieve these children, they began CPR on one child and other life-saving measures on the other child.
What can you tell us about the deputy's injury?
So the deputy's injury is water-related, and I'll frame it as that.
Is it hypothermia?
Well, again, we'll frame it as water-related injuries. I don't want to get too far into any kind of medical statuses or anything like that. But what I will tell you is that, again, thankful to the fire department, they treated the deputy on the scene, but then also recognized that the deputy also needed to be transferred to the hospital for additional care.
Any idea when the last time you guys answered a call, whether it's the deputies or the fire department, when the last time you guys ran a call like this?
So, we don't have that, obviously in front of us.
Okay.
But I can tell you is that this is one of our greatest fears whenever we have these type of weather conditions in our community. We fear whether it's kids who are injured because of sledding, or whether it's kids that are going to walk or be tempted to walk onto an icy pond or body of water. This is one of our greatest fears when we come out of what we have termed as inclement weather conditions. And so again, that's why we found it important tonight to call a press conference to sound the alarm to the public, like, hey, as children are going to be getting out more and more over the next couple of days, this weekend, please have this conversation with your child about avoiding bodies of water, even though they may appear to be frozen.
Because this happened in
Will you let some of them ask questions if you don't mind? If you don't mind.
How long did it take for you guys to get them out of the water once you arrived on the scene?
We only took seconds or minutes to get them out. Again, the greatest search, or the greatest issue was when deputies arrived on the scene. It was low light conditions, it was dark, and so they had to locate the children, and once then, they had to try to battle through the frigid water, battle through their own clothing being weighted down now by water to get them to the shore. And then once they got them out of the water, that's when they could begin to do things that they felt were right to save these children's lives.
And in terms of saving measures, were there any CPR or any of that?
They did perform CPR on one child until the fire department was ready, until the fire department arrived on the scene and to take over patient care.
And was that on the younger child or was that on the older child?
It was on the younger child, but then the older child also required treatment on the scene as well, and then later required to be transported to the hospital.
Any questions?
I guess for something like this, this weather is new for really so many people. Is there anything you guys are going to take away from this incident if it does happen again? Maybe you guys could look at something differently. It sounds like you did a great job, but anything you guys may have taken away from this incident tonight?
Well, one of the things that we'll do is we anticipate that next year we'll face some of the same type of weather, most likely. This is something that's seemed to be an annual event for us. And so now I guess we find it important on the front end to talk about dangers such as this so that on the back end we won't have these kind of conditions. And again, the media has been a great partner in us getting messages out in terms of how to drive under these conditions, or to stay off the roadways. You guys have been a great partner in doing that. And I think that next year you guys will be a great partner in helping us on the front end get these types of education pieces out. So again, at 11 o'clock at night, we came here to go to the public to say, hey, listen, tomorrow we want to make sure that parents will have these conversations. We don't want to have another incident. Any other questions?
I was just going to ask one more, which was about, it just seems eerily similar to what happened in Texas, and it was 3 brothers, and none of those boys made it. And I want to say that was on Monday. Did you see that on the news? 3 brothers fell in a pond. They all didn't make it.
Yes, and so, you know, again, we're still praying for the child that's fighting for his life. You know, but I spoke of this a few moments ago. I think between the deputies arriving pretty quickly, without hesitation, entering the water, pulling these kids out, the fire department arriving on the scene and performing life-saving measures. I think all of these things working together gives us a different story, fortunately, for our community, but more importantly for the families. Thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all. What part of Texas? I can't remember, but it was just broke my.
So you just heard from Shelby County Chief Deputy Anthony Buckner confirming that 2 children aged 12 and 7 fell in a frozen pond in the back of an apartment complex, and they are now rescued and out of that pond by deputies, but one is in critical condition. That's the 7-year-old. The 12-year-old child is in non-critical condition. Now, I want to note here, they got deputies on the scene at around 8:15. Or 8:15 was the call, excuse me. Now at 8:19 is when deputies were able to get into the pond and pull those children out. So we're talking about a matter of minutes here from when they got the call and deputies were able to respond and get those children out of the pond. They still had to go to the hospital. One child, the 7-year-old, is in critical condition. The 12-year-old is in non-critical. A deputy was also injured in trying to save the child. All that Chief Deputy Buckner would say was that it was a water-related injury. Now, they did act immediately. He emphasized the efforts between the Shelby County Sheriff's deputies as well as the Shelby County Fire Department in their quick action to save these children. They jumped right into the pond to pull those children out. Chief Deputy Buckner also mentioned that the family members were there. A sister of the 2 children who he did confirm are related. They are brothers. The 12-year-old and the 7-year-old are brothers. He did say the sister saw them. The mother was around as well. So the family was there. And then they were able to quickly respond and get those children to the hospital at this time. He cannot stress enough. He wants parents to really talk to their children about avoiding bodies of water, especially frozen bodies of water that look like you can walk on them. He said, absolutely not. Keep anyone away from frozen bodies of water because it takes nothing for that ice to break and for you to potentially fall through. But he did speak to the swift action by the deputies and the Shelby County Fire Department. We will have more on this, so stick with ABC 24 for our morning show as well as 24 Plus. But just to reiterate, the 7-year-old is in critical condition tonight. The 12-year-old is in non-critical condition, and a Shelby County Sheriff deputy was injured in rescuing those children. But we will have updates as soon as we know anything more from this. This is all still under investigation, but thank you for joining us on 24 Plus.
Continue with us and watch free now on the 24 Plus app everywhere you stream.